This conference will now be recorded.
Worked with me for 14 or 15 years, but I was wanting to put them through that course, just to give them a bit more knowledge about the SPS, you know.
I mean, certainly if we've got sufficient demand, we could get the actual course delivered virtually. It wouldn't be a problem at all. So I could certainly look into that.
Is it normally for new starts, or that would go on the course?
For the full course, yeah. But
okay.
I can certainly look into that for you, Colin. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No? Okay, thanks very much, Jenny. Okay, the second question we have is one for Bob. So it's, have any standards been changed recently which members should be aware of?
Yeah, well, there's been an amendment 1 to PS 7671 2018, which was published on the 1st of February. We put out a technical update, T441, to members to highlight this. There is a link which takes you to the document on the IET website. It's free to view. The amendment principally concerns one of the special installations or locations, electric vehicle charging equipment, section 722. And the principal change is really that for fault protection, they take account of new products that manufacturers are now providing to ensure the safety of installations where you've got a TNCS earthing system, PME. The danger with PME is that obviously on the supply, the neutral and earth are combined, they're one and the same conductor. Now, if you get a break in the neutral, that can raise the potential of anything connected to earth to a dangerous voltage. So I don't know how many of you guys are involved or have done any electric vehicle charging installations. In previous versions of the wiring regulations, they had 3 options. One was where you drove in an earth electrode and connected it together with a PME, and that was to try and restrict the voltage rise that could occur to no more than 70 volts. The problem with that was you had to get a very low earth electrode resistance, so it was pretty much unachievable. The other option was for 3-phase installations where you had to try and get a balanced 3-phase system so that you had no neutral conductor flow. Now, anybody who does commercial work, you'll know that it would be very difficult to balance a 3-phase system and maintain that balance at all times. So pretty much impossible to achieve. And the third option they gave you was a device we in the industry called the unicorn device, which was probably because it never existed and it didn't exist up until fairly recently. Manufacturers have suddenly started to produce these devices. That device was to monitor a rise in voltage between the protective conductor and the electric vehicle charging circuit and earth, and if it rose above 70 volts, it would disconnect the line neutral and earth together. So in previous versions of the wiring regulations, these 3 options were pretty much unachievable. Now, in domestic dwellings, there used to be an exception that where none of these 3 options were reasonably practical, then you could connect to PME because the risk of a break in the neutral was deemed to be fairly low. However, industry has discovered that actually the risk is quite high. It happens fairly regularly within the distributor network organisations. So most people who were installing these systems would tend to have used a TT earthing system. They would have driven in an earth electrode and used that as the means of earthing for the electric vehicle charging circuit. Well, they had a look at this. Amendment 1 came out in February, and as I say, it now takes account of manufacturers producing specific electric vehicle charging equipment. Manufacturers like Zappi, for instance, they make devices that will either detect the rise in voltage between the protective conductor and the earth and automatically shut off. Or the new option, option 4, is where there is a means of detection of a voltage rise between line and neutral in the electric vehicle charging circuit. And if it goes above 253 volts or below 207 volts, again, it automatically switches off the line, neutral and earth to the electric vehicle charging equipment. And they've also added in an option 5, which is for future development if manufacturers of equipment produce something similar to options 3 and 4. That was the main change. I'm sure that's, if you're not involved in electric vehicles charging equipment, that'll be pretty boring for you. The core addendum to that amendment was just released. It's now on the IAT website. And again, I produced a technical update, circular E45, which just went on the website this week. And that again is highlighting core addendum, which is basically picking up mistakes. You wouldn't believe that IAT actually made mistakes when they produce these documents, but it happens all the time. So the principal mistake there was in relation to a note, and if you're an avid regs book reader, which I'm sure you all are, a note isn't a regulation, it's guidance, it's an informative note, it's just giving you some sort of background thinking. So there was a note 5 included after one of the items, one of these additional items, and they had a look at that and they decided, well, it applied not just to the item 5, I think it was, in the amendment, it actually applies to the other items 3 and 4. And what it was basically saying was that a manufacturer of that equipment can't just say it complies with BS 7671 2018, because BS 7671 2018 is not a manufacturing standard. As you know, it's an installation standard. So if a manufacturer is supplying equipment like that, the designer will need to make inquiries to see how compliance is achieved, and you'll need to satisfy yourself that an adequate level of electrical safety is achieved. The issue really is that some of this new equipment that's being produced, there isn't a product standard for it. Manufacturers didn't have product standards for that equipment at this present time. These will no doubt be developed. So there's a couple of things. There's Amendment 1 to consider if you're doing electric vehicle charging installations, and there's the core addendum, which was just issued to tidy up the mistakes that were in Amendment 1. If you're interested in getting involved in electric vehicle charging installation, because it is going to be a growth industry, we all know, there's been government announcements bringing forward the date where they're going to phase out petrol and diesel vans by 2032. This is already happening. There'll need to be an adequate infrastructure in Scotland and the UK generally for electric vehicle to power up. So you can get involved in that. There's access to government grants, etc., for the people who are installing the charging equipment, but you may have to prove your competence by having accredited training. Select have developed accredited training together with West College Scotland, I think, Jenny, is that correct? And we also run it at Glenrothes. I'm not sure if we're running it at Dundee, but we're running it at a few venues if you want to become involved in that. And that looks at a Sitting Guilds qualification, and it looks at the regulations, and it looks specifically at a code of practice that the IAT produced for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So it takes you through that, the qualification takes you through that. Over and above that, you may want to become an approved installer with regard to specific equipment. There might be a need to undertake specific manufacturers training. For instance, Zappi might want you to go and do a training course on their equipment, or Rolex is another familiar name that comes to mind. They might want you to do training, and then you can become registered as an installer with OLEV. That's the Office for Low Emission Vehicles in the UK government, who dish out the grants, and that's usually a requirement for them to become an approved installer. So that is recent updates on standards, specifically BS 7671. Ongoing work at committee level is developing Amendment 2, which will be published probably in the end of March 2022. So there's more changes coming into the wiring regulations. They're talking about advances in energy efficiency, for instance. We're talking now about prosumers installations. That'll be something new to maybe a few of you. Prosumer being not just a consumer, but somebody who produces electricity. You know, if you've got solar PV or a generator, or if you're dealing with battery storage, all of that stuff is going to start coming into the wiring regulations in the next few years, and it will develop or pick up pace over the next 10 years. So there's a lot of opportunities, I would say, that will realise themselves for electrical contractors in the very near future. It's just getting yourself positioned for that. Obviously, we've got this immediate problem in that we're in a bit of a recession at the moment, but the government will be looking at ways to generate the economy again, and the new energy efficiency sort of stuff will be at the forefront of that. Out with those standards, there's a couple of minor things. There's a wee amendment to BS 5839 Part 6, which deals with fire detection and fire alarm systems in dwellings. There's a draft for public comment just went out on that, and that's, you might have heard about the publicised incidents where kids can pick up on a smoke alarm when it's sounding during the night if they're asleep. So there's a wee bit of information to be put into that standard to alert the installer, to inform the people who you're working for, to highlight that to them. There might be specific products that come out, different frequencies of operation for that. Next year also, the emergency lighting standard BS 5266 Part 1 will work for review. So there'll be changes to that. Again, if anybody has specific issues with regard to emergency lighting installations, again, I would appreciate any information you can put back to me, problems that you've encountered, that sort of thing that we can feed into the system. So that's a fairly long-winded update on some of these standards. So if there's any questions, happy to try and answer them. Silence.
Any questions? Nothing?
Any is doing electric vehicle installations at all? No. It is, I mean, it's something that's going to, it is going to happen. I mean, this energy efficiency stuff is, over the next 10 years, it's going to be a fairly significant bit of work that's going to be there, an opportunity to get involved in that. Okay.
Okay, thanks very much, Bob.